Inspired by sound.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. There's a milestone here. This is video number 30 of Inspired by Sound, and this is going to be a very cool video. I'm very happy because today I'm going to bring you Native Instruments Symphony Series. It's going to be kind of a talk through, not a walkthrough. I'm not going to show you every patch. I'm going to show you those that I found interesting, and I'm going to use this track to demonstrate some of them, and then I'm going to play through a couple of others that are not in this track. This track is called... I don't know what it's called. I think it's called It's Nothing Like a Sandwich. But it's a silly little track I made the day that I got everything installed correctly. If you can hear a strange squeaking in the background, it's because the bath is running for my kids, and for some reason our pipes like to sing. Now that won't happen throughout the whole video because I'm going to be turning up and down the microphone and all that sort of thing. However, let's get straight into it because you know I don't like long intros. So, let's talk about track 1, which is Trumpet Effects, and this is fun. I'm going to drop down 1 octave, and yeah, 1 octave. Now, on a 61 key keyboard, the C below the octave, which starts off of our trumpet effects, and I'm playing 2 Cs above that. So if you have your keyboard at octave 0, then the second C on the keyboard is where your stuff actually starts. So there's all sorts of long effects, and they are not stoppable. They have to be played out and let finished. There's things like that. Now, let's hit C sharp and then we'll hit C again. So just to remind you very gently, that first C does that when C is pressed. We'll call it C minus... yeah, alright, we'll call it C minus 1. So C sharp minus 1. Now C does this instead. Long evolving rise up effects. Very cool. Now, Symphony, I should talk about this as I play some of these effects. Just listen and listen. Symphony Series contains 6 products, which are brass, solo, brass ensemble, percussion, string ensemble, woodwind ensemble, and woodwind solo. That sound like 6? I think it does too. I'm glad you agree, Mr. Trumpets. So, with that in mind, all of these products come to a whopping 154 gigabytes total, and that is a step up from the 13 of the 5 products that I have from Symphony Essentials, not Series. So there's quite a huge difference in size difference there. It's quite nice. Lots of effects. And these are, I'm on the E flat now, by the way, for the curious. The D effects were these. And that's how the track starts, actually. It starts with this D. Now that D goes on timelessly until you let go. And if you notice there's a key release, I'm going to play the key. And it's looping. Let go. Now. And it goes on for a bit longer and then it stops. So there's a sort of key release that it fades, crossfades into. It's very cool. So the E flat now. Short, sharp effects. And there's loads of them. Goes up to quite far. Oh, there are E as well. This also goes up a long way. Love it. You do not get these sort of sounds in the... I keep getting them confused. Symphony Essentials. Right. Series Essentials. It should be easy, but just Symphony is in front of both of them, so you know. Right, F now. I like all these motifs it's got going on. Very cool. F sharp now. We've got some octave stuff going on. So, yeah, really cool. G is muted. Muted trumpet sounds. There aren't many of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them. So C to E flat. And that's the end of the effects for that. So now I've played that to you. Let's look at the name of this patch. It is called Trumpets Effects, and this is from the Symphony Brass Ensemble. All right, so that's track 1, technically 2, but I've got a first track in here, which is just a play track that I am using. And excuse me a minute, just want to check something. Yeah, I was right. The cable for my extension for my expression pedal was stopping it from fully existing. Right. Right, let's get back on the right device. My keyboard was controlling the phone, and that's boring. Okay. Winds 1. This is lovely. The way that they've done this and chose to do this is mod wheel controls the dynamics of the sound. So if I play something like this with the mod wheel at maximum, it's fun to play that, by the way. Some of you might recognize that, some of you might not. Then it's quite non-dynamic. Whether I hit the keyboard softly or hard, it does not change. The way to change it is to use the mod wheel. Now that's not the first, I don't think it is anyway. Okay, it is. Okay, that is the first sound in the key switches, so we've gone down 2 octaves now because -1 is low Cs. We've got bassoons and things. So if I go up the octave, keep going, we've got flutes and piccolos, and it stops at C sharp. So it's quite nice. Now I need to go down again, as I say, 2 octaves. So C sharp, is that, and go back to a normal. You can do things like that with the staccato. Or is it Mercato? I don't think that's only string word, isn't it? If you notice, they're quite harsh hitting. And if I play this C and move the mod wheel down, we crossfade into less harsh samples. So I'm gonna turn the mic down and have a little play with this particular key switch, and then you can hear what it's like without this in the background. So you can do things like that, and that's one key switch. Let's play the D key switch. Seems to be very soft rises, which is really cool. So you can do crescendos. It's just beautiful, and they don't hold, so they taper off quite quickly. So if I put the mod wheel sort of in the middle of the range, I did use a sustain for that. So that's nice. The E flat, I would imagine, would be a fall then, which it is. Very cool. Really long fall as well. It's beautiful. Okay, so we have C to E flat, so 4 key switches, and that is that one sound. We're going to move on now to what I have called Winds 2, and I know that this is saxophones, and I've got them on the rise. Oh, let me go back. I'm not being thorough enough for my liking. I apologize. This sound is called Woodwind Ensemble and is from the series Woodwind Ensemble plugin itself. So it is the title patch in that product. The next one is Saxophone Expression, and it is in the Symphony Series Woodwind Solo. Now, does this have key switches? I believe it does. Where are they? I did find these once. I always get them lost, you know. Where are the key switches? I know that they are... Oh, the sound is gone. Fantastic. Let me go down 2 octaves just in case they're hanging out down there somewhere. Okay, there they are. Down at octave -2. So even though the saxophones actually stop at F here, it goes down to -2. And again, the mod wheel plays the part in this, so I can... That's what they do. They fall on the C sharp. D, very sharp. E flat, a quick rise, quicker than the C. So let's compare the 2 rises. Here's the C rise. And here's the E flat rise. And that's all there are. Again, the 4 key switches like in the other patches. Okay. Track 5, strings, which is lovely. This is the string ensemble from the Symphony Series String Ensemble plugin. So again, title patch from said plugin. Now these are different, and of course the key switches have moved places because why not be inconsistent? So the key switch is actually above this octave up here. So the keys stop at E above the octave on a 61, and the first key switch is actually F. So nice strings, but of course they're all being played with no dynamics. So again, you have to use your mod wheel. Let me drop down an octave so I have some range here. I'll turn the mic down just so you don't hear my keyboard clacking, and I'll play some more for you on this key switch, and then we'll move on to some others. It's a little hard to play this mod wheel because it's a ribbon, so if you touch it anywhere, it just jumps straight to it. So bottom and then top. So it takes a little finesse to get it right, and so I apologize for my jumpiness. I will do better. If I just use one hand, of course, I can always keep my finger on the thing and not screw up. And do things like that. Okay, I could spend all day playing this particular key switch and sound, but let me get you to some other key switches so you can hear what this is. Now, there's a difference in tonality between the F key switch and the F sharp key switch. But I don't know what that's called, that particular style of playing these strings, so somebody with an orchestral bent, please tell me, because I really would like to know these terminologies correctly, and I don't, I admit. I do know that one, it's tremolo at least. I do like those. Really nicely recorded, well played. The crossfading is exquisite in my mind. I just really enjoy playing these particular patches. And I haven't had them very long. I've had them just over a week, I think. I actually think I got them installed a week ago today. I was flying to Amsterdam last Thursday, so I haven't really had a chance to play with them fully. So we're kind of on a road of discovery, both you and I, together. So I hope you don't mind joining me on that. Now this next one, this next key switch is interesting because if I get closer to the mic, now listen to the mod wheel. When I have the mod wheel at the bottom and play, whether I hit it hard or not, and you can tell I'm hitting it because you can hear it through the mic, doesn't change. But if I put the mod wheel at the top and play soft and hard, it does change. So the mod wheel in this case is actually controlling two things, velocity and expression at the same time. And when it's at the top, it does mean you have control over it and do not have to use the mod wheel to play. So I can turn this down. Lovely. I like the spread. I like the recordings. I just like everything, really. Then again, I'm easy to please, so. Right, then. Why are you so quiet? Okay, so the A flat was longer, and the A is shorter. So I'm not sure the difference quite exactly, but there is a difference. But the names of which escape me, and Maccato and Staccato perhaps, and then spiccato, plucked strings, which is a beautiful sound as well. So yeah. And if you notice, this works in the same way as the previous two. A mod wheel at the bottom, when you hit it soft or hard keys, nothing happens, and you put the mod wheel at the top, and you can play it hard or soft, and it matters. So I can turn mics down again, do the same thing. I like. Right, so that's the strings. Bell, this is going to be really quick. Watch how quick this is. Tubular bells goes from here to there. That's what it does. And it plays a small part in the piece. Doesn't have any key switches. It's not going to be a bowed tubular bell. Nothing like that. So, Percussion 1. Another of my favorite sounds. This is awesome. This is called Big Hits Kit. I should really tell you where the tubular bell came from, though, didn't I? Just to be consistent. Consistency is good. That's from Symphony Series Percussion, and there are 3 percussion tracks in this. The first one is the bell. The second one is called Percussion 1, even though technically the first is also. But anyway, never mind my weird naming conventions. This is a cool... because it does that. This is a cool patch. It has these piano hits in the bottom end of the keyboard. I'm in the right place. That's right, and you hit it hard, you get sort of other layers. It reminds me of an old Korg combi sound. What do you think? And so you got an octave of that. Well, almost an octave. It's 11 notes, C to B. And you can use it for sort of big cinematic things, because when I show you what's above that, you'll see what I mean. No black notes, except, by the way, the piano stuff. But after that, all the black notes do not do anything in this patch. Tell me you can't have fun with a patch like that for ages and ages. That's why I say it's like a Korg patch, because you've got layers when you hit different sounds together when you hit it. It's very fascinating to me. So that is called Big Hits Kit from the Percussion library. Then Percussion 2 is a cymbals kit, and it has a line of cymbals, 7 keys, again white keys, C to B. And then above that you have muted versions of the same sound. Again in octaves. Although, no little gong. So let's go C, D, E, F, G. Wait for that to die off a little bit. A, B. And then we repeat some way up the keyboard. C, muted. D, E, F, G. Nice and sharp. And then A and B are not covered. So these little gongs did not get mute sounds, which I don't know why. Oh well, that's not a big deal. So that's that sound. Sorry, that's the track. And those are the sounds from the track. So now let me go back to the top and take you through a little bit how it sounds with the different elements. So to start with, we'll go back to the trumpet FX, and the track starts with that sound. I'm going to solo it. And that's all that does until the very end. So that's very short, nice and convenient. Winds 1 comes in at bar 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it goes along with the strings patch, which I'll show you in a second. Now at bar 15 we have this saxophone thing. I'm going to play it to end from bar 15. You're going to see what happens. Soloing. It reminds me of a Doppler passing car that's beeping its horn as it passes, and I ended the piece like that. So that plays a very minimal part, see. Strings comes in again at bar 2, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to go up 2 tracks and solo the first wind track. Sorry about the Mac. Stop. Start. See, together they play this nice togetherness, which I quite enjoy. Now the tubular bell comes in at the first bar and it goes 2, 3, 4. And then it doesn't do a lot for a bit. So as I say, a very minimal track, but it just adds to the percussive elements. Now the first percussion track I like a lot because it's doing quite a bit, and it comes in quite near the beginning, if not the beginning. 4, 5, 6. Yes, I'm using these piano sounds to do a lot of the work. There's no bass in this track, as you may have noticed, actual bass line. I could have used spiccato strings perhaps, and I could maybe make them emulate, or not emulate, but follow along unison with the piano low parts, but I didn't, chose not to. But I'm using a lot of the percussion noises in here, gongs and so on. And that last track here is the cymbals track, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just gongs really that kind of go along with the piece, and it doesn't play again until the end. I think it's just a very minimal track. So that's that. It's not big at all. And this track, by the way, is called It's Nothing Like a Sandwich. So there, I have weird names. Now, I have a track at the very top up here called Play. And this is going to allow me to go through some of the other sounds that are not covered in that piece, because I figured that some of you might want to know about some of the other options available to you and why you'd be buying this over the Symphony Essentials. I have to stop and think every time I say this. So we're talking about the horn effects to start with. They're fun, these are. Where are my key switches? Okay. So the first time you load horns effects from the brass ensemble patch, you will get this sound. And it goes all the way up, it goes up quite a long way. Playing this kind of full scoop thing, which is cool. Again, a bit Dopplery, which is quite fun. You can play a sort of dissonant, nasty chord and get a nice sort of fadeaway, which is lovely. Now, I don't know what chords the US trains use. There are some wonderful jazz chords in some of those horns, but it reminds me a lot of that. Great big, I don't know. That's too clean. We need dirtier chords than that. Let's try something like that sort of thing. I love it. I just love it. It reminds me a lot of those when I hear them. You guys have some great chords out there in the States on your trains. We do not over here. Ours do something far more boring. Now for this one I have to turn the mic down. The C sharp key switch actually is breath noises on the horns for some reason. It does things like this. So they've got a couple of octaves of stuff like that, which is quite strange, but oh well. Now the D key switch is doing things like that. Muted horns? Is that what that is? I don't even know. It's cool anyway. I could see myself using things like that for sure. I like it. The E flat. Octaves. And it goes to G. So C to G. Tell me that's not just one sample. Is that all you did? Sounds like it. I think it is just one sample for that one. Heh. Okay, fair enough. E. I consider this one an Easter egg because there's talking in that. So somebody didn't edit or left it in as a sort of joke, as horn effects do, why not? So some of these recordings actually have talking in, which amuses me greatly. So that was the C sharp. And the D and so on. So there's lots of different sort of long evolving, I call these effects, if you will. Again, I think it's great there's talking in some of these. You get away with finding out who it is. If you filtered out some of the notches things, you might be able to see what they were saying and doing and all sorts. Right, is there an F for this or not? Yeah, there is. There's an F key switch, which seems to be movement. People moving around just quietly. So that's interesting. F sharp? More talking. And more playing around. Maybe tune up and such. And why not? I think more things like that should be in orchestral libraries. It's fun. They're really long, so you hit one of those by mistake and you have to wait for it to shut up. There's no stopping it, because you can't send a MIDI note off or a panic because it's not panicking or needs a note off. It's doing what it does. So if you want these to stop, tough. So yeah, these must be tune-ups and things between takes. Is there a G? No? Oh yeah, that's different than the F sharp, possibly. A flat? Alright, yeah. So lots of these effects with talking in and horny things. Things to do with horns, one should say. So you could literally spend all day on all these different key switches and products. And there's a lot to get through. I don't want to spend an hour on this video necessarily, because I don't think you want to spend that long listening to me chat rubbish. So let me move on speedily, if I can, take you to something else interesting. I'm going to take you through just a handful of these patches, and what you're hearing when I'm scrolling through these presets is the previews. See, I'm just turning the dial. So you can hear all these different things. So, horn, where are we? Oh, I've got to go plus minus or something. I think we're on horns something. I'll just go plus minus. Hopefully you'll let me. Alright, plus minus. There we go. If I hadn't played with it in the first place, it would have been fine, but I did, you know me. Horns staccato, right. And that responds in the same way that the other one did. Mod wheel, nothing, low. Mod wheel at the top. I like those. Very well played and no talking. So that's good. Where else should we go? Let's have a look at trombone's expression. That's what you get with that. We like that, I think. Do we like that? I like that. I hope you like that. Trombones legatos, trombones staccato, very, very forceful. Again, same kind of deal with the mod wheel. You can hear with the sample crossfades, it's nice. Lovely things. The trumpet effects we've looked at. Trumpet staccato. We'll just have a look. Where are you going to play from? Up here, I should think. Well, you go as low as C, although I can tell that the sample doesn't go that low. You can listen. A lot of fun. Okay, moving swiftly on. Tuba staccato, big beefy ones, these. I don't think there's anywhere a tuba plays up there. Right, so that was brass ensemble. Let's go through some of these brass solo patches. When I do this, you can sort of hear what some of them would be. Let's have trombone effects, because I'm kind of curious. Okay, mod wheel up. Oh, it's just quiet. It's always good to have these things, by the way. I'm curious, actually, what key switches do in this one, because I'm assuming that there are upwards, and there are. I found already an octave -1, and so therefore C -1. Yeah, okay, well, that'll work. Really long.